Okay, everyone, let's talk about what's really shaking up Washington right now. On December 10th, 2025, Democratic Congressman Al Green from Texas dropped H.Res. 939, a privileged resolution with two powerful articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump. The very next day, December 11th, he forced the House to vote on it using a procedural tactic that demands quick action, no delaying, no hiding. The motion on the floor was to table the resolution, meaning to shelve it and kill it for good. The final tally, 237 yeas to table it, 140 nays, and 47 members voting present. Those 140 nays? That's 140 members of Congress, almost all Democrats, voting against tabling and effectively saying, yes, let's advance these articles of impeachment right now. This isn't some tiny group of outliers. It's a massive bloc, including ranking members on key committees, subcommittee leaders, and representatives from diverse caucuses across the Democratic Party. Representative Green called it a clear sign of the deep concerns lawmakers have about Trump's conduct and the real dangers it poses to our country and democracy. Let's break down exactly what H.Res. 939 accuses Trump of. Article 1 is about abusing presidential power by promoting extrajudicial punishment and inciting violence against lawmakers. It specifically points to Trump's social media posts where he referenced seditious behavior punishable by death in reaction to a video from Democrats, including figures like Senator Alyssa Slotkin, urging military personnel to disobey potentially illegal orders. Green argues this isn't just tough talk. It's rhetoric that normalizes threats of execution for political disagreement, endangering members of Congress and attacking the legislative branch. Article 2 hits on intimidating federal judges and undermining judicial independence. Trump has repeatedly blasted judges who rule against his administration, calling them radical left lunatics or suggesting they should be impeached themselves. The resolution cites data showing violent threats against judges spiked dramatically after these attacks. In 2025 alone, about a third of the federal judiciary has faced a flood of threats, and even Supreme Court justices like Ketanji Brown Jackson have publicly warned that these assaults seem designed to intimidate the courts. In his fiery floor speeches, Green didn't mince words. He stood in the well of the House and declared Trump an abuser of presidential power who is engendering hate, putting lives at risk, and threatening the very foundations of our republic. He announced this as the start of a countdown to impeachment and promised he'd file more articles before the Christmas break if needed. Green has been relentless, reminding everyone that he's done this before and won't back down. The vote to table passed because Republicans control the House and uniformly supported killing it, joined by about 23 Democrats who voted yeah and 47 who voted present, including top leadership like Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar. They argued impeachment needs a full investigative process, documents, witnesses, hearings, not a rushed vote. But those 140 who voted nay defied that, showing frustration is boiling over. This matters hugely because threats aren't abstract. Capitol Police have tracked hundreds of credible threats in 2025, many linked directly to Trump's words labeling opponents as traitors or enemies. Lawmakers, including some Republicans who've crossed him in the past, have needed extra security. Judges are begging for protection. Green says if Congress doesn't act, we're normalizing authoritarian tactics where dissent gets punished with violence. Compared to earlier attempts this year, like in June when support was much lower, only around 79 against tabling, this December vote shows support has nearly doubled. Momentum is building fast among Democrats who see Trump's escalating rhetoric as a direct threat. As we head into the holiday break and then 2026 midterms, this vote has put everyone on notice. A significant portion of Congress believes Trump's actions are impeachable offenses. Republicans dismissed it as partisan games, but the impact on safety crosses party lines. This was blocked for now, but the message is loud. 140 lawmakers are ready to hold Trump accountable. Next, let's look at how Al Green got here with his year-long campaign. Representative. Al Green has been the driving force behind impeachment efforts in the 119th Congress, filing multiple resolutions throughout 2025 to highlight what he sees as Trump's repeated abuses of power. It all ramped up early in the year, with Green introducing articles accusing Trump of condoning the flouting of court orders, undermining judicial independence, and violating due process. By May, he filed H.Res. 415, focusing on attacks on judges and separation of powers violations. Then in June, after U.S. military actions without full congressional approval, Green forced another vote on war powers usurpation, accusing Trump of bypassing Congress and risking unauthorized conflicts. That resolution was tabled with much less support, around 79 Democrats voting against tabling compared to over 200 for it or present. But things changed dramatically by December with H.Res. 939. Why the surge? Trump's rhetoric intensified throughout the fall. Posts implying harsh punishment for disloyal officials, direct attacks on judges, and responses to videos about disobeying illegal orders, all tied to real-world spikes in threats. Green made incitement of political violence and judicial intimidation the centerpiece, arguing this creates a climate where lawmakers and judges fear for their safety simply for doing their jobs. Green's floor speeches have been passionate and unyielding. His quoted historical figures warned of democracy devolving into authoritarianism and stressed that impeachment isn't about politics, it's a constitutional duty to check a president who threatens co-equal branches. In December, he commended the courageous 140 who backed advancing the articles, noting the diverse coalition, not just progressives, but moderates and leaders concerned about safety and norms. This isn't Green's first rodeo. He's been pushing impeachment since Trump's first term. But in 2025, with Republicans holding the majority, every attempt gets tabled quickly. Still, each forced vote builds the record and grows support. The December one had double the backing of June's, showing more Democrats are fed up with what they see as unchecked abuses. Leadership wants committees to investigate first, building a thorough case like past impeachments. Figures like Jamie Raskin have said Green's resolutions highlight real issues but need Judiciary Committee hearings. Yet the 140 nays, plus 47% signaling concern without full commitment, show the party is divided, base demanding action, leaders cautious about timing with GOP in control. Green vows to keep going, promising more before Christmas. He's framed this as protecting democracy from a president who normalizes threats. Data backs him. Threat reports from Capitol Police and courts correlate with Trump's posts. It's not just Democrats affected. Past critics like Liz Cheney faced dangers too. As 2026 approaches, these votes force records that could matter in campaigns. If support keeps climbing, or if another incident pushes more over the edge, full impeachment articles could gain traction, especially if Democrats flip the House. For now, Green's campaign is spotlighting a pattern, from war powers to judicial attacks to incitement. The broader context. Multiple Democrats have filed impeachment resolutions this year against Trump and cabinet members, reflecting widespread outrage over perceived lawlessness. Greens are the most prominent, forcing floor action. This December vote was a milestone, 140 saying enough is enough. Next segment, we'll explore what happens if this ever reaches the Senate and the tough choices Republicans would face. If articles of impeachment like H.Res. 939 ever pass the House, and with support jumping to 140, it's not impossible in the future. The Constitution requires the Senate to hold a trial. They can't ignore it or dismiss without process. With Republicans controlling the Senate, conviction needing 2/3 is a long shot. But the trial itself would be political chaos, especially timed near 2026 midterms. Senators would have two bad options: a full, drawn-out trial with witnesses, evidence, and hearings that dominates headlines for weeks, halting Trump's agenda and forcing GOP members to defend inflammatory rhetoric on record. Or a quick vote to acquit, looking like a partisan cover-up that energizes Democrats and independents angry about accountability. Republican senators in swing states would be trapped. Vote to convict, and Trump's base primaries them or stays home. Vote to acquit amid damning evidence of incited threats, and moderates punish them for enabling danger. Past impeachments taught harsh lessons. Those who crossed Trump faced backlash, threats, even retirement. In Trump's prior trials, quick party-line acquittals worked. Post-January 6, a few Republicans convicted, but most learned loyalty is safer. Now, with midterms looming, public opinion could shift if threats continue or scandals mount. Independents seeing lawmakers and judges endangered might demand more. The December vote pressures senators already. 140 House members signaling Trump's words are impeachable over violence incitement and judicial threats. If the House flips in 2026, impeachment likely passes fast. Even without, these forced votes build a narrative. Democrats bet on process mattering, hearings airing threats data, victim testimonies from protected lawmakers, judges detailing fear. If focused on facts, not partisanship, it could sway voters. Republicans call it witch hunts, but bipartisan threat impacts complicate that. Some GOP senators quietly hope House never passes anything, avoiding the choice. Others prepare defenses. Rhetoric isn't incitement, threats are from fringes. But if trial happens, it rehashes ugliest moments, posts implying execution, threat spikes, safety costs. Trump's agenda stalls. Campaigns become referendums on accountability versus loyalty. Green knows Senate conviction is unlikely but sees value in forcing records. The 140 backers agree. Process has power to educate public, energize base, pressure moderates. As Christmas approaches, Green's promise of more articles keeps heat on. If another escalation, tipping point possible. Senate watches warily. This could define 2026. This impeachment push doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a larger Democratic narrative framing Trump and his administration as corrupt, above the law, and dangerous to democracy. The articles in H.Res. 939 tie directly to escalating rhetoric, but they feed into ongoing scandals that reinforce a pattern of abuse. Threats to lawmakers and judges are central, but Democrats link to other issues, alleged cover-ups, power grabs, cronyism. Each story builds on others, creating death by 1,000 cuts where no single incident sways everyone, but the cumulative portrait does. Green explicitly connects impeachment to accountability for elites who think rules don't apply. If Congress ignores incitement and intimidation, messages presidents can threaten branches without consequence. Broader scandals include administration stonewalling investigations, foreign policy overreaches, and more. Democrats argue this erodes norms, risks authoritarian slide. The 140 votes show coalition broadening, progressives long calling for action, now joined by others seeing threats as crossing lines. Even some voting present or to table acknowledge problems but want process. For 2026, Democrats plan running on restoring checks, holding power accountable. Impeachment votes provide clips, Republicans tabling amid concerns. Trump plays victim masterfully, calling efforts hoaxes, deep state attacks. Base rallies, but independents may tire if threats continue affecting institutions. Media coverage key, partisan circus helps Trump focus on threats, safety data hurts. Green's relentlessness forces confrontation. He bets accumulation, rhetoric, threats, scandals, reaches tipping point where public demands action. Will it work? Past impeachments boosted Trump short-term, but context different now. More awareness of consequences. These votes matter even if blocked. Statements about standards, what we'll accept. So where do we go from here? Representative. Al Green has promised more impeachment articles before Christmas, and with 140 backing the last push, a huge jump from earlier, pressure is mounting. If he follows through, another forced vote could see even more support, especially if Trump's rhetoric escalates or new incidents occur. In the short term, Republican majority likely tables again. But each vote grows the record, highlights divisions, and keeps threats in spotlight. Longer term, 2026 midterms are crucial. If Democrats regain House, full impeachment probable, investigations, hearings, passage. Then Senate trial becomes reality, dominating campaigns. My take, House likely passes articles sometime in 2026 if trends continue. Senate holds perfunctory trial, acquits party line with maybe 1 to 2 defections. Not removal, but damages. Politically, helps Democrats more, keeps misconduct front page, forces GOP defenses, energizes base, gives independents pause on enabling. Risky though, if seen as overreach, backfires like before. Trump thrives on victimhood. But differences now, threats real, affecting officials bipartisanly. Public more attuned post-first term. Green forcing issue reasserts Congress's role. Founders gave impeachment to check abuses. Failing to use it weakens branch. This stress tests democracy. Can system hold president accountable when party protects? Bottom line, 140 lawmakers voting to advance impeachment isn't fringe, it's warning. Significant Congress portion says executive gone too far. Even without removal, process shapes views on standards, accountability. Next month's wild, more votes, potential trials, campaigns intertwined with scandals, threats. American democracy on trial in real time. Will checks work, or erosion continue? If reached end, thanks for watching. Subscribe for every update on this fight. It's just beginning. Truth matters. Accountability essential. Stay tuned.